We are back. We are in Xcode, and we're almost done with this module of the app, which is the view layer. The view layer is definitely the first place to start your app because it's the most obvious, right? You can see it. I can now make a mock version, send it to my designer, let people get a kind of a feel of the app without the real data. But before we finish up here, we got to add a little bit of routing. So on the home screen, if I click on one of these cells, this avatar cell here, it should go into the chats view. Let's go to our Explore view and let's create that segue. So these buttons, we already have it as a button at least. Let's go to the featured section. Here we are. Let's create a private func and we'll say on avatar pressed. Let's create a function. Let's pass in an avatar. Type avatar model. Let's call on avatar pressed. Pass in the avatar that we are looping on. And now we need to add some modifiers in order to actually perform this segue. So I have a video on how to use Navigation Stack, which I will put in the description below if you want full details on really how to use the Navigation Stack. I'm going to assume that you guys have used it before and already know how it works. So I'm going to move quickly here. If you don't know, watch that video. Navigation Stack, when you actually create a Navigation Stack, you see that it has a binding to a path. The path can be anything that is a binding, that is a mutable collection, a random access collection, and a range replaceable collection. These are very technical terms, which basically means any sort of array that has some sort of identifiable or hashable data inside of it. So up here, let's create a @state private var. We'll call this path. It'll be an array of navigation path for now. And we'll set it equal to a blank array to start. Let's go ahead and bind to it with the $path. Click enter on the root, and then we'll just delete this so we get that working up there. So we don't know what our path is going to be yet. For right now, let's just make this a string. So we'll bind it to a string. We're not really sure what it's going to be. But when we go and we create avatar pressed, let's call path, and we'll append the new screen, which needs to be then a string. So let's just call avatar.avatar ID. We'll send in the avatar ID to the next screen. So on our navigation stack, I think we have to add it inside the navigation stack. So in here, we'll add a navigation destination. We're looking for the one with the for destination. So the type here is going to be a string.self. The destination, this will be the new value. So this is the string that gets sent to the path. And then here, let's go to our chats view. Chats view. There should be an initializer for chats view. I don't know why there is not. Let's go and check it out quick. So when we go into the chats view, I guess we didn't create the initializer. So let's go ahead and pass in some data when we create the chats view. For starters, let's pass in an avatar ID of type string. We'll set this equal to avatar model.mock.avatar ID for now. So now we should be able to pass this in. So let's go ahead and call avatar ID and we'll pass in the new value. Our first segue should now work. So if I click this, it goes. And now let's try to actually click a category as well. So in our category view, our category section, so let's move our avatar pressed down to the bottom. And we'll put it down here. Then we're going to create another private func on category pressed. Let's call this category of type character option. We'll open the brackets. All right, so here now we need to also segue using a navigation destination, right? So here I could start to say path.append, and we'll append the category maybe the raw value of the category. And let's go and in our category cell view, we'll call on category pressed, pass in the category. And it'll work, but obviously we know that this category should not go to this screen. It's got to go to the category screen. So passing in some generic string here doesn't work for our use case. What we're going to actually do is create a custom type for these two cases. So we need something that has a case for chats and a case for categories. And I purposely said the word case twice because when do we use cases? We use cases when we make enums. So let's go ahead and create an enum, and we'll call it navigation path option, and we'll open the brackets. So let's give it one case for the chat screen. We'll pass in an avatar ID, type string. We'll give it another case for the category screen, and we'll pass in the category of type character option. So now let's make the path a navigation path option. Remember when we looked at the path, it needed to be some sort of like mutable collection. So basically it needs to be able to determine that these are different from each other. So the navigation path option needs to be identifiable or hashable. Hashable is easier to conform to. Now this is no longer a string, but actually a navigation path option. So in here, we can now switch on the new value for case for the chat. Let's say let avatar ID, and we'll return to the chat view. Otherwise, we'll do category, let category, and we'll pass in the category list view, which we need a category and also an image name. So let's also pass in up here an image name of type string. And so then we'll pass in an image name. This will be image name, let image name. And we'll pass that in here as well. Sorry, this should be avatar ID. Now when we go to the bottom, we should be able to append a dot chat. We'll pass in the avatar dot avatar ID, and we'll do a dot category. We'll pass in the category. We also want an image name. For right now, I'll just do constants.randomImage. All right, so on category press, when we call it, let's pass in an image name here as well. So on category pressed, let's pass in an image name of type string so that we always have an image name. And now up here, I want to make sure that we have an image name. And it actually looks like we don't have an image name even on this cell either. So what we're going to do in this app is basically we're going to look at all of the popular avatars, and we're going to find the first one that has the same category as the category that we're looping on, and we'll use the image from that category. In another version of my app, maybe I will actually make images for each category. I'll set up a CMS, we'll create images for the categories. But for this, just to make it fun and dynamic, we're going to use any avatar that is in the same category. We'll just use that avatar's image. And so we'll say here, we'll say let image name equals, let's go popular avatars dot first where, open the brackets, where the character option is equal to the category that we are looping on. So let's actually make this an if let, so that if there is no image, then we don't even render this category on the screen. Go ahead and cut this and put this up here. We'll pass in the image name here, pass in the image name here. Sorry, this is popular avatars dot image profile image name. That is better. I'm going to put this on 2 lines just so that it is easier for me to read. So let's cut this and we'll put it up here. And then we'll say if let image name. Just a little easier to read. Cool. So now if I go and I click on women, it should go to the women's tab. If I click on aliens, it should go to the aliens tab. If I click on alpha, it should go to the chat view. And all this is looking pretty good. Let's connect our popular rows down here. So where's our popular section? We already have the on highlight button. Let's call on avatar pressed, pass in the avatar. Let's go to the gamma row, gamma, and that works. This says alpha at the top, but I think that's just a bug because we're still using our mock data. So I'll let that slide for right now. We want to do the same thing for our other 2 tab screens. So the next tab screen is the chats view. And here we are clicking on a chat, and we want to go right into that chat. So we're going to want to do exactly the same things as we just did on the Explore view. What I'm going to do is open up, let's click this plus button in the top right for the editor. We'll add an editor on the right. I'm going to hide both of the canvases. And on the left side, I'm going to click into the left side and I'm going to Command Shift O. Let's go to the Explore view. We're going to do essentially the same exact stuff. So let's take this path and put it here. Let's take this binding and put it here. And then I want to take this navigation destination and put it here. Now this is a lot of code, and I don't like having to repeat myself ever when I'm writing code. So let's make a reusable modifier. So rather than this, let's come up here and let's create an extension of Vue, and let's make a func, and we'll call this navigation destination for core module. Just because it's for our core screens, we don't want to use this for onboarding. And we're going to, in here, put the navigation destination. So we'll return self with this Vue modifier. This function will return some Vue. And now we should be able to call dot navigation destination for core module. And let's do it in this screen as well. Navigation destination for core module. Let's go to click on the right side. Let's Command Shift O and jump open to the profile view. In the profile view, let's add in another path, because remember we have a different navigation stack on each of these screens. We'll bind to the same path, and down here we will call the navigation, let's do it right under the title, navigation destination for core module. I'm going to Command R, or you can click the play button up here to build. Let's build it to a simulator and see if it works. If I click on aliens, it goes to the aliens screen. If I click on alpha, it goes to the chat. If I click on these down here, beta should go to the chat as well. If I go to the chat screen, I notice that they all say alpha in here, and that's because remember we made these, like we added a special logic to make these asynchronous functions. So in our chats view, we are returning right now just fake mock get avatar. It doesn't look exactly great. So what I'm going to do here is let's just change this for just the 1 second. We'll say we'll make this the avatar model.mocks.random element, and we'll force unwrap it. Down here, let's also do chat message model.mocks.random element and force unwrap it. Let's build it one more time just to get a little bit of variance in the mock so it looks a little bit more realistic. There we go. Gamma, and it should go into the chats screen, but it does not work. It doesn't work because we didn't set up the buttons. I am a genius. So this button doesn't do anything. Let's come down here. Down here, let's do a function private func on chat pressed, and we will pass in the chat of type chat model. And then we're going to call path.append the chat view, and we'll pass in the chat.avatar ID. Call on chat pressed, pass in the chat. I think for the profile view, we need to do the same thing. Profile view, we have the avatars section down here, and we have these buttons. So let's do at the bottom a private func on avatar pressed. We'll call path.append avatar or chat, and we'll pass in the avatar ID. We'll pass in the avatar of type avatar model, and we'll call the avatar.id. And then up here in the my avatar section, we'll call on avatar pressed, pass in the avatar that we are looping on. Let's build and run it one more time. All right, let's make sure this one works. Beautiful. Let's make sure this one works. Beautiful. And then we have one more screen that we have not really checked out, which is when we go into the alien screen, then we want to be able to click on alpha and go from here into the chat screen as well. This is where our next problem comes in, because if we look at the category list view, there actually is no navigation stack in here, because by the time we get to the category list view, we already are in the navigation stack from the previous view. So from the explore view, we already have the navigation stack. So from in here, we're going to need to append to that same navigation path. Just to refresh, if I go back over here, I'll go to the explore view. We need access to this path inside this view. So this view needs this. We already have the state here, so we need to just bind to this path. So in here, let's pass in a binding variable called path of type array of navigation path option. So now when we create this, we will send the path in, and then from in here, we can go and add a button. Let's get this to compile first. For the preview, we'll just add a path with a .constant blank array. And then let's jump to where we actually go to implement this. We have it in our Explore view right now. We need to pass in a path here. So into this function, let's pass in a path, which is a binding of navigation path option. Let's pass in this, and let's bind to it. So here we'll call the path with the $path. And we did it wrong. This should be an array of navigation path option. I will copy this little parentheses here. Let's go to the profile view and find our problem and paste that here. Let's go to the chats view and fix it here. And then lastly, let's go to the category list view. And now we have these avatars. So I'm going to X out of the double screen here. Let's open up the canvas. I will Option Command Enter to open up the canvas. I could also just click this up here, but Option Command Enter opens up the canvas. Let's get it working. And then on these, I think before removing the list row cell, let's add any button. And let's make these highlight buttons as well. Let's make sure the UI looks good. And then we'll create a function, private func, on avatar pressed. We'll pass in the avatar of type avatar model, and then we'll call path.append.chat, and we'll pass in the avatar.id, avatar ID. On avatar pressed, pass in the avatar that we're looping on. So it's not going to work in the preview yet because we are not binding to it, but if I build and run to a simulator, I think it is going to work. Let's go into the alien screen and let's click on beta. And now we are in our chat view. This is great. Great job. And now we have our app routing all set up. Let's jump back to the Explore view quick and then just clean up this code. Does not belong in the Explore view. So I'm going to actually make this a new section in our app. Let's put it in the core because it is obviously part of the core. So the routing for our app. So let's make a new folder in here just called routing. And I'm going to just cut this and paste it into the routing screen here. Let's go ahead and import SwiftUI, import foundation, build it, and it should compile. I'm going to Option Command C. Let's go ahead and feature, and we'll say, let's go ahead and feature, and we'll say navigation path option. Let's stage it, commit it, push it up to GitHub. So again, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.